head over to eBay Motors. They have horns for every make and model, not to mention horn pads, steering wheels, wiring, and more. 122 million parts.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
These days, saving time is important, and saving money is even more so. That's where Eagle Masonry and Insulation comes in. Over the years, Eagle has expanded their services to meet the needs of folks like you in our area. Taking care of your property yourself can be a real headache. Eagle can handle it for you. They offer full landscaping services, irrigation, mowing, bush hog, and can install plants and trees, sod, and even landscape borders. Call Eagle Masonry and Insulation today at 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time, and Eagle saves you money. Suffering from emotional pain and mental health conditions? Intensive Outpatient Programs, or IOP, is a rich addition to your continued individual therapy. Group members realize they're not alone and that others have similar difficulties. Hearing and sharing different ways to think and cope can be encouraging, empowering, and promote healing. In most cases, treatment is covered by insurance and no doctor referral is needed. Virtual IOP sessions available. Take your first step to wellness by calling 205-999-5247 or log on IOPServicesLLC.com.
In the Army National Guard, soldiers serve part-time and close to home.
My community means everything to me. It helped shape me into who I am today, and is where I choose to raise my own family. That's why I joined the Army National Guard. I'm proud of where I'm from, and as a soldier, I get to give back to the people that helped me succeed. The education benefits I got from serving helped me get my degree and jumpstart my career. The training and leadership skills I've gained from the Army National Guard help me every day when I teach young people, help my neighbors, and look out for my community. I know that when my neighbors need us the most, my fellow soldiers and I will be ready. My family loves it here, and my part-time service means we get to stay here.
Serve part-time in the community you live in as a proud member of the Army National Guard. Talk to your local recruiter or visit NationalGuard.com. Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard, aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
What does it mean to be a part of the Southeastern Conference? That you scheduled your wedding and even your child's birth around your school's game? Of course. But it means more than that. It means you're home to hundreds of Fulbright, Truman, Goldwater, and Rhodes Scholars. It means starting out as the birthplace of American public higher education, and now leading the way in unmanned spacecraft. This is the SEC, and here it just means more. What does it mean to be a part of the Southeastern Conference? That there's an honest-to-goodness chandelier in your tailgate tent? Perhaps, but it means more than that. It means pioneering medical solutions to predict new flu viruses. It means leading globally diverse teams to eliminate starvation in developing countries. And it means being home to one of the nation's top cybersecurity programs. This is the SEC, and here, it just means more.
So what are you waiting? Oh, sorry, I got carried away. So what are you waiting for? Download the ESPN app and get closer than ever.
The WNBA is off to a record-setting start. This season's...
This is Paul Feinbaum. That'll do it for me today. Coming up next, The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This hour is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
Welcome in to this edition of The Drive as we are on location in downtown Huntsville at the UNA Caravan Stop here in downtown Huntsville. We had Dr. Looney on the athletic director at UNA on this morning, and it's only appropriate that, well, we're going to be able to talk to him as well here live in Huntsville. How are you, Wes?
I'm doing good. It's good to be here.
It is. It is. Heard earlier today, in case you were working, the Braves winners today 5-1 over the Phillies as they won the two-game series as it was rain-shortened. Now they will head over to the Reds. We're going to be shortened today because LSU doing LSU things. I guess that website, again, accurate on another game scheduled for today. And the weather forecast looks free and clear up there in Omaha as well. And we'll see whether or not we can get an all-SEC championship matchup. But you'll be able to hear the College World Series action right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone as LSU and Wake Forest in an elimination game will determine who will play the Florida Gators. Earlier today, Kirk Herbstreit was a guest on the Pat McAfee program. Pretty soon we can say that'll be an ESPN-owned property. Not quite yet, though. But Herbie had this to say on us looking forward to 2024, as we've obviously been talking a lot about the 12-team playoff. But listen to a little bit of what Herbie had to say earlier today.
I think that this is going to be a fascinating time as we sit here and talk next June, getting ready for the 24 season. How many teams are going to be in the SEC? You know, how many teams are going to be in the Big Ten? What's left of the ACC? What's left? Is the Big 12 taking the Pac-12? Is the Pac-12 now the Mountain West? What's left of it? So we're going to have so many more answers that I find it interesting. It makes us all look to 24. So that's what I mean when I say in lame duck. It's not just that, you know, we're going to 12 teams for the playoff. It's a lot more than that. And that you know, we'll see. But you know, this is still going to be a great year in college football. Every year is a great year in college football.
But those storylines that start creeping in, like you said, team coming out of nowhere. TCU coming out of nowhere was insane. First year as a head coach. And now the storyline, seemingly the big one takeaway is like, is Kirby Smart, John Cena to The Rock, Nick Saban? You know, is your time is up, my time is now? Is that a whole part of this entire conversation? Like Saban's not going to go.
You got to be a step ahead of everything in this world, right? Be really careful of listening to David Pollack said it's a new. That's right when Alabama comes back and just throws their trump card down and whips everyone's. I haven't even really dug in. I'm already leaning to Alabama to win the national championship. Just when you fucking say Nick's done, Alabama's done, Kirby's goodbye, here comes Alabama. They're going to win it all. So if I'm betting right now, I don't even know what it says in Vegas. I'm betting Alabama to win the national championship. I would take, at this point, it's guaranteed. We'll see with injuries and what happens, but do not sleep on Bama.
That is Kirk Herbstreit earlier today on the Pat McAfee show.
Well, if they put it together, it's all possible. I've been telling the same thing.
Yeah.
They got to put it together, though. They got to do it on the field. They had the best team last year and didn't win it.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
You go to the draft. Look what happened in the draft. You know, how do you take let me say this. I think they didn't have the best team. They had the best talent. They didn't develop at wide receiver. So how can you have the best team with wide receivers busting 17 coverages? They didn't have the best team. That's wrong. They had the most talent than anybody else, and they didn't win it last year.
Of course, we started off telling you where we are, and the Caravan has made a stop here in Huntsville. And no, we're not sick of you, sir. Dr. Josh Looney is the athletic director at the University of. You just want to fill in a 2-hour time slot for us tomorrow?
You know, there's some good golf courses around here, and probably a pool. You know, if you guys are up for it.
How are you, sir?
Doing great. It's been a great week in Huntsville for us, obviously back, but that Monday night event you guys threw, and I know that was the inaugural event for the Rocket City Awards. What a first-class event. Our staff loved it. Of course, Shakari Lane winning the male college athlete of the year, but for the high school students and coaches, just first class. And I told the guys this morning that, you know, you'll be looking back and say, hey, now we're at the 20th annual one of these. Just awesome idea, and it was great for anyone that wasn't there and wants to see it in future years. It was a special night. So congrats to you guys for putting that on.
I appreciate you saying that. That was a big effort from our entire staff.
It's incredible what everybody did.
Yes, but folks, please.
Well, I mean, so this came back in April. We had one of the best golf tournaments I've ever been to, and everybody's already committed to next year.
He just got to shoot a gun.
Yeah,
that's why that was part of the deal.
Have you ever shot a golf ball gun?
You know, only in one of those scrambles where you get closest to get some prize, but somebody else shot it, so I've never got to shoot it.
It was unbelievable. Best golf shot I've ever had.
So, what is the one question you get the most from UNA supporters?
Well, I think we just answered the biggest question for the last 2 years, and I'm sure for ADs plenty before me. So when are you going to build a stadium? So now we had a great announcement on June 9th. Our Board of Trustees officially accepted our naming partner for an on-campus multi-purpose stadium, Bank Independent Stadium, and officially green-lighted us to get into the design phase of that project. It will be transformational for our campus, really for the whole North Alabama region, and a lot of people in the Shoals and UNA alum throughout all of North Alabama. They've been waiting a long time for that. We can trace it back at least 50 years. The 1973 UNA Football Media Guide had just a picture with no caption. It said on-campus stadium vision, something like that. And then 74, they actually had the caption, and then there was some movement. But it's been 50 years of discussion, and just such an exciting time, and so many people have stepped up to help us get to this point, to go public with it. And, of course, Bank Independent being the naming partner for the stadium, we just have so much appreciation for them.
So where are we in that process of an on-campus?
Yeah, we'll dive into the design phase here in the next 12 months, and we're really targeting the 26, 27 year is the date of potential opening.
I would assume the spot is where the practice field is next to Flowers.
Yeah, it's reimagining the space and totally redeveloping the site that currently has. It's outside CMS Bank Arena, Flowers Hall, and in our annex is where our practice field is. It's where our baseball stadium currently resides. There's a grass practice field there as well that our band has practiced on, that football has used in the past, and it actually goes well beyond baseball to the north, and so that's the space we'll redevelop.
Gotcha.
Exactly which programming will go in the stadium. I think that's what we're drilling down on. But all three of those sports will be part of that redesigned and repurposed area. And then, for a stadium of some of this magnitude, it's not going to be designed just for 5 Saturdays, right? Every student athlete will step foot in state-of-the-art programming in that stadium. Obviously, concerts, academic events, summer baseball, you name it. We want it all there and be a 365-day-a-year type of complex that is truly transformational.
So what is going to be the capacity? Y'all talked about that, I guess, and I actually was at that. I've been there where you're going to build it. I just had a flashback from Wesley and Connor's middle school days playing baseball tournaments over there. I think there's the baseball fields right there.
Yeah, it's a great piece of land, and it's right across. If you can imagine, those have been at UNA. A lot of the residence hall are just across Pine Street. So you think of a game day and Pine Street becoming this tailgate zone, and
it's in the
and
west
students
part of the
coming
campus,
across.
right?
We're at the far west side of campus.
So it's the opposite of where the current stadium is. I know exactly.
Well,
right, Brawley is off campus about a mile to the east of campus. You're right. So it is the opposite side, and capacity and all of those things. We have concepts and targets, but that's really what the design phase is, and is now we've gone public, and really we'll hone in on that here over the next 12 months on the specifics.
So there's so much movement around in collegiate sports. How much does that affect just keeping your ear to the ground, honestly, on potential movement for UNA?
Yeah, we've been part of it. Obviously, the reclassification, we've played Division I schedule now for 5 years. This is our first year as a full Division I member without all of the restrictions that come with a transition. But then just even within the Division I membership and landscape, and at our level, at the FCS level, it continues to move, and we're pretty excited about where we've landed up. So we're trying to do something that hasn't occurred in a long time, and we've taken the WAC football schools and the ASUN football schools and
united.
We've merged them into the United Athletic Conference. Now, what's interesting about this single sport FCS conference, which there's been a moratorium for that. We have an AQ. We already operate like a conference. We'll have our media day, but it allows all of our sports to continue to play in the ASUN that are non-football, and allows all the WAC schools to do the same. And with that, we've created a very strong football league, one that is growing schools, ambitious schools, ones that will be aggressive in a time of transformation that we want to be associated with. So we're excited about that. It'll expand us into Texas and even into Utah. And so that'll kick off this fall and with a 6-game schedule for conference, and then we'll move into a full 8-game in 2024. And then we'll go into 9, and with our 10th full member, UTRGV is starting a football program in 2025. So they'll jump in, and plus whatever else happens in realignment between now and 2025, right?
Yeah. Now and tomorrow.
Who knows? Who knows?
So how much would, there's all these people talking that Alabama doesn't need to be playing any teams that are not in Power 5 schools, which I totally disagree with. How would that affect teams like you? That would affect you greatly if no Power 5 schools played you guys.
Yeah, right? And I don't. I think you're referring to the different scheduling, 9, 8-game schedules, all of those things in the SEC. We'll have our first Power 5 football game this year at Florida State, and obviously those are big. Crucial pieces for our budget. That in men's basketball, you have some guaranteed games. We won one at Ole Miss last year.
That's right.
And they're a big piece of your budgeting, and it also offers a good opportunity for those schools on short weeks. You may see an FCS opponent before the Iron Bowl, right? You might see one before the Egg Bowl. We're playing Florida State before they play Florida, and so I think the bigger question is college football realigns. Not necessarily is their FCS scheduling. It's just what do these leagues look like? How many games do they settle in? And then ultimately, what does that college football playoff expansion look like, and who's involved with the access to it is probably the bigger question.
Bigger questions.
Yep.
So I'm reading up a little bit. Public relations for the Kansas City Chiefs. Also worked with the Orlando Magic as well. Tell me about those experiences.
It's funny. My first half of my career was in professional sports, and the majority of that was with the Chiefs, and people's eyes light up. And I grew up in Kansas City. I love the Chiefs. But, the Chiefs now are much different than the Chiefs I was doing public relations for, right? This was all pre-Andy Reid. It was pre-Patrick Mahomes. These were the 2-14 and the 4-12s. I was there for my first year there was Herm Edwards' first year as head coach. I was there for Herm's 3 seasons, and then we had Todd Haley for a few, and Romeo Crennel was my last year there. But one of the guys that came through, and boy, had a heck of an arm, and he actually came and spoke about the boys' ranch, the Big Oak Ranch. Brody Croyle was a quarterback while I was there. One of the things in PR, if you remember, they did Hard Knocks in 2008, I believe, and Brody was a central storyline. He was the young quarterback that was trying to beat out the veteran and Damon Heward.
That's right.
And that was the storyline. And Brody and his wife Kelly were great people to be around. And so it was neat to see them in Florence when he was speaking and actually told some great stories about his welcome to the NFL moments on those Chiefs teams.
Well, that Chiefs teams, as I remember, his offensive line was not very good.
Brody was on the run
for
a
a
lot. But
didn't he tear one ACL one year and the other the next year?
And I remember the game. I think it was Albert Hainsworth broke through that line untouched and went straight into Brody's knee, and it was a vicious hit. But man, he was a tough player, and I still think of all the pro quarterbacks I've seen and college quarterbacks, he has the strongest arm of any that I've seen in person, just everyday throwing, and what a great guy. But yeah, he took some hits on those teams, and the other quarterbacks did too. I think one year they might have started 4 or 5 different quarterbacks because of injury.
I mean, it was bad. They were bad.
Yeah.
The offensive line, and you kind of look at it. How did they get that? I mean, poor Brody was. I mean, you didn't want the starting job then.
It was, they had they were.
What
They were an aging team that was kind of hanging on, then went through kind of a rebuild and redevelopment, and Brody was in the quarterback chair at the beginning of that redevelopment. It ultimately helped lead them to where they are today, right? And they shored it up. But it was kind of those teams that were just in the playoffs and then had a lot of veterans, and they came off, and salary caps and you name it. It was the restart years for the Chiefs, and a lot of guys were in there taking snaps.
It's a lot different now, though. You're right about that.
It's totally different now.
I have not seen a game at Arrowhead. How would you describe a game at Arrowhead, even during that time?
Unbelievable during that time. Chiefs
it's like
fans,
a college atmosphere.
It is, and I think that the dynamics of that stadium make it so loud. But, boy, you pull up into that parking lot. It's one of the few NFL stadiums that just has miles of parking all around it. And with those miles, the grills are just, it is going. And it is so much fun on their tailgating. And both of the team owners, Lamar Hunt, when I was there at the front end, he would walk the tailgate, and then his son Clark, after Lamar passed, Clark Hunt still does to this day, walks through all those tailgates with the fans, and it's just such a neat deal. You've got to go and have the Arrowhead experience, and it doesn't matter if that team's a Super Bowl team or is rebuilding. Those fans are out there at 6 a.m. Well before, and you'll get the best food and barbecue that you've had at an NFL football game for sure.
I actually have three friends that are season ticket holders and don't live in Kansas City. I mean, they're rabid.
My parents have season tickets, and so anytime I go back for Christmas or New Year, I want to take those tickets and go check it out. So it's great.
So this caravan, obviously, to maybe light a match, or just tell me some goals here for the caravan.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, our partners at Martin Fed have been tremendous to us, really over the last few years. But Huntsville and Madison are such an important market for us, right? We have so many alums, we have so many students that feed here, but they're a great partner in events. We had the unique football game against Jacksonville State at Toyota Field last year. Was a great success for us, just from a stadium perspective. That game did more gross revenue than our last 10 home football games at Brawley Stadium combined. So it was It put us on ESPN with the One Direction football game on College Game Day and then College Replay. So it was great all around, and it's those types of partnerships. We're very active with the Huntsville Sports Commission. I have hosted a number of cross-country regional meets. ASUN championships have been here, and we want to just continue to grow those partnerships. And so we love the innovative thinking here in Huntsville. We've got a lot of supporters, and so we've done these events. They said, well, let's not do an athletic event. Let's just bring our coaches to have some great conversations. So that's what you'll see here. And, I think more of the star powers with our assistant coaches, actually. We got some NFL and SEC players that are going to be here, and the head coaches are kind of the undercard of who's here today.
Is Brent aware of this? Or?
Brent knows. He's the one putting that out, right? So it's great. He's done a great job with his staff and building guys like Deshaun Davis from Auburn, Jake Bentley, who's quarterback of South Carolina. Sammy Parker was on those Chiefs teams early when I was in PR. He was on his rookie deal, so we've reconnected this year. So it's been great.
Well, we appreciate you stopping by. 2 hits in one day. Well done, sir.
I love it. Hey, thanks you guys for everything you do.
See you tomorrow.
All right.
Let's go ahead and take our first time out. A shortened show as we're walking you up to LSU taking on Wake Forest.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold-certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Hey there, folks. Head fry cook Bob Baumhauer here, and I just want to say thank you for allowing Baumhauer's Victory Grill to serve you for 40 legendary years. When I first delivered Alabama's first taste of buffalo wings back in 1981, people thought I was crazy. For the first few years, I had to give wings away. Imagine that. 40 years later, I'm still proud to serve the great people and visitors of Alabama our famous buffalo wings and much more. Here's to 40 years of legendary fun, legendary food, and many, many more.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time, or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Tom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. If you've been injured and need a lawyer right now, and pick up the phone to call, you know, one you've seen on a billboard or on TV begging for your business, do you know who you really get?
I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. You want to talk to your lawyer. You don't want to reach a call center, not in some office 100 miles away. With the Lackey Law Firm, that never happens. My clients talk to me.
And me. I'm attorney Justin Lackey. We're the ones that you talk to. We're the ones that you meet with.
And we're the ones who handle your personal injury case. You want to talk to me? You just call me.
And we'll take care of it. You worry about getting well. We'll take care of the rest.
The Lackey Law Firm.
And I'll go you one better. If you can't come to us, we'll come to you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This segment of The Drive is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, located online at WoodyAndersonFord.com with 2 locations, Hughes Road in Madison and Jordan Lane in Huntsville.
We are back. It is The Drive, live here at the UNA Caravan here in downtown Huntsville. Good to have the folks from UNA here, along with West Neighbors. Steve Moulton back here with you, and let's chat with the head football coach at the University of North Alabama, and Brett Dearman. And how are you, Coach?
I'm doing fantastic. This is a great setup over here. Really excited to hang out with the UNA fan base, alumni. So me and my staff, we've been really fired up about this night for a few weeks now.
So tell me a little bit about the journey to be the head football coach at UNA for you, sir.
How long is this show?
We've got a good solid 15 minutes here for you.
Okay.
Coach Dearman was a Viper. That's what I like.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I started, I'm a Mobile, Alabama guy, played at Viger High School. A lot of people don't believe me when I tell them that. I get that look a lot right there. All right, so my dad was the O-line coach at Viger, offensive coordinator, so I wanted to play for my dad. So I was the white quarterback for Viger High School. And I ended up I played at Bethel College at that time up in Tennessee. It's now Bethel University. Had a good career there. I'm the all-time leader in interceptions thrown as a quarterback there. It's a stat you like to have. But had a great career there. Ended up coming from there to Huntsville. Played for the Tennessee Valley Vipers in 2008. And then...
Was Kevin Guy the coach?
It was Dean Coquinos.
Oh, that's right.
Was the coach then. And I love Dean. Dean gave off a little bit of used car salesman kind of look at times. But I traveled around, played arena ball for a couple years, and realized I couldn't make a living off of arena 2 ball.
Yeah.
So I took my math degree and used it, and I went started high school coaching down at Viger High School. Was there 3 years. In 2008 was my first year in coaching, right after finishing with the Vipers. And we go 15-0, win a state championship.
Wow.
And I thought I had this thing figured out. I'm 23 years old. Hadn't lost a game. Carry-On Johnson just walked in right here.
How about that? Yeah.
And I coached a kid named Jolston Fowler, who played for me at Viger. And I realized it didn't matter what play I called. When we turned and handed it off to him, he was usually going to score.
Now he couldn't even play his senior year, right?
He couldn't play his senior year, so this was his junior year.
Yeah.
And his recruiting really didn't take off until after that, which is really his last year playing. And then I spent 2 more years there. Had a great time there. I got to be the head football coach at BC Rain High School at 26 years old. Was probably the toughest job I've ever had in my life, of trying to rebuild an inner city school in Mobile. We won 2 games my first year, 3 games my second year. Got a call from Gus Malzahn when his first year at Auburn. He was trying to put his name in the Mobile area because the guy on the other side of the state in Tuscaloosa was killing it down in Mobile. So got an opportunity to be an off-the-field an analyst. Gus's first year, I spent 2 years there.
That was quite a year.
It was a phenomenal year to be my first year in college. You know, you get to experience the miracle of Jordan Hare against Georgia, the kick six. 2 weeks later,
so
go to the national championship.
Your first year, pretty good.
First year,
yeah.
I mean, I'm not even halfway through the resume yet.
Yeah. I just don't remember the last 15 seconds of that national championship game.
The last 13.
Oh, excuse me, 13.
I will remember 13 for the rest of my life. Could have had a national championship through a slant. Jameis throws a slant in the far right corner end zone right there. But leave after 2 years there. Deshaun Davis played for me his 9th grade year at Viger. And he was a guy that I stood on the table for at Auburn and said, this kid can play here. So that's my connection to him. I was there when we recruited him. His first year there, he was a scout team linebacker. And then I leave to try to make a name for myself and got a D2 offensive coordinator job at Arkansas Tech, the only school in the country known as the Wonder Boys.
That's right, the Wonder
Boys.
Boys.
The mascot.
Yeah.
Spent 3 years there. Led a lot of records at my 3 years there. And so then I came back to Bethel as the head coach in 2018. I couldn't turn down my alma mater as a head coach, an opportunity. My one and only year there, we go 10-0, win the conference. We led the country in scoring that year. So because of all those things, I get somebody at Kansas recognizes me in Les Miles' first year at Kansas. So they called me up and interviewed me there, and I ended up going up to Kansas as an off-the-field kind of consultant role, and 6 games in, get promoted in the middle of the year to be an offense coordinator. From off the field to OC.
Drinking through a fire hose?
I think that's the first time in the history of college football something like
I've
this
never heard of that.
It was a fun ride. So I go from the year before preparing for Campbellsville, Pikeville, Cumberland.
Was Harding on the schedule?
Harding was on the schedule when I was at Arkansas Tech, the year before.
Gotcha.
So I'm playing these schools. And then my first game calling it is against Texas in Austin.
Wow.
and we play them on a Friday night on ESPN. And I remember the Longhorn Network, the lady comes in the night before at the hotel. She says, Coach, how is this moment for you? And I said, and I was lying. I was making all. I said, ma'am, they're going to send out 11. We're going to send out 11. That's how it's always been from junior high to NAIA. We get out there, there's 90,000 people in Austin. I'm like, oh, my goodness. So we ended up, we take the lead. It was 48-47. We took the lead on a Friday night against Texas with like a minute left to go in the game. We go for a 2-point conversion. We hit it. I'm like, yes, we're going to beat Texas my first game. Well, Sam Ehlinger had different plans. He drives them down the field in that time. And
that was the basketball game, it felt like.
Yes. He kicks a field goal. They kick a field goal to beat us this time.
I watched that game. That's right.
Sir.
Yeah.
That was me there, the crazy acting fool on the sideline.
I don't.
So I spent 2 years there, a year and a half really as OC, and then I'm from Alabama, and Middle Tennessee job comes open as the OC, and my wife's from North Alabama actually. So I wanted to get her and our kids closer to home, get them closer to grandparents. So it was kind of like God led me. 3 weeks. I'll get back to that. So I take the Middle Tennessee OC job. Yeah. 3 weeks after I took that job, all the Les Miles scandal stuff comes out. Yeah. And if I would have stayed, who knows what would have.
Yeah.
I would have been sitting on my rear end without a job probably. So the Lord led me to Middle Tennessee. Spent a year there, go to the Bahamas Bowl, had a heck of a season.
My nephew was on that team.
Really?
Hayden Neighbors was a walk-on wide receiver.
He sure was. Absolutely. Yeah. Loved Hayden. So we go for the Bahamas Bowl, spent too much of my check in that casino in the Bahamas, but had a great time. And then I get a call from Coach Taggart to join the FAU staff down in South Florida. He couldn't turn down an opportunity to go live in Boca Raton, Florida. My wife, we lived 2 miles from the beach, and she was in heaven down there, 2 miles from the beach. So go down there, and I lived the D1 world for 4 years, the Kansas, the middle, the FAU, and we're about halfway through the year, and I've made 6 of my son's 14 707 flag football games. And I looked at my wife and I said, you got to be able to be a dad. And I can be a dad when I call the shots every day. So when North Alabama job came open, the opportunity to be a head coach again, the opportunity to figure out when I can leave the office every day and build a program, build a culture, is what led me to applying for the job and ended up getting the job, and I'm blessed. And then I'm sure we'll talk about some of the guys I was able to bring on staff, but connected with all these guys. So that was my years in coaching in a nutshell.
Well, it sounds like going into a place like Florida State is not all that daunting to you, Coach.
Oh, man. I tell you what, it came out last week. I think ESPN put out a preseason Heisman candidates. Yeah. And Florida State's quarterback is number 2 on the list. So not only do you go into Doak Campbell Stadium, which when I was growing up, it was the Derrick Brooks, the Warwick Dunn. Mm-hmm. I mean, Florida State was rolling at that time. So, and then for me to not have a national championship ring because of Florida State, I've got a lot of Florida State in my history, but I get to go back into that stadium, and man, it's going to be an awesome experience for our players. But then the next week, Florida State plays Miami.
Oh, really?
So I'm hoping they're working on that Miami game, playing a lot that week when we go down there.
And you play a little bit of their defense than you did against Texas, right? You can't help.
Absolutely.
You can't help. You couldn't do anything about that then. Now you can, right?
I can absolutely do something about it now.
Exactly.
We can work a lot more tackling drills as a team. I tell you something else I did is when I got here, we looked at the roster, and offensively UNA was pretty decent last year. They did a pretty good job. Didn't do very well defensively. So we went out and we got 17 transfers. In this first signing class, we got 17 high school players too. So we kind of 50-50. Well, 14 of those transfers play defense. So I told our defensive staff, I said, we better be able to stop somebody if we spend all this time and money and scholarships on the defense side of the ball.
I seem to remember Coach Steele, every single time he talked about Deshaun Davis, it's almost as if he was the coach on the field. and how much does he bring that to your coaching staff?
You know, Deshaun is a superhuman being. Deshaun has been blessed by the Lord with an ability to connect to people. And what Deshaun did is Deshaun could find the football. And his whole career, no matter what the coaches around him, they always said he was too short. And as a 5'10" linebacker in the SEC, a lot early in his career, he was kind of deemed the too short backer. And what he did is he used that as fuel and had a chip on his shoulder, and he connected with the other 10 guys around him, and he led. And he made 10 guys around him better all the time, and that's his best skill is his leadership ability. And then when that ball snapped, he finds a way to get to that ball. So those two traits there, the name that he bears is also huge for us in recruiting. You know, if I'm a player, if I'm a linebacker in this state, why would I not want to play for that guy? A two-time SEC, all-SEC linebacker. So, man, he's phenomenal to have every day. And he's about a 7-year-old, too. If you hang out with him tonight, he's like a 7-year-old. He's always smiling. He's the jokester on the staff. All right, he's always playing jokes, but it's in a good way.
So what is a coach's only room meeting like? What kind of tone do you want to set, Coach?
I'm not the locked-in serious guy all the time. I want to have a good time. I think we are better as men when we enjoy going to work. If I'm fearful of going into that meeting room, or if I'm worried about getting chewed out every time I walk in, I don't think I'm as good of a person at doing my job. So we have a good time. You know, we try to do a video of the day. You know, I'm in Huntsville, so you got to, you know, the Hide Your Kids video. We've watched that.
Oh, yeah.
Walking to Gunnersville, the classic video. I've educated my staff on the great videos that this city has produced.
The great videos.
There's also one out of Mobile, the Great Leprechaun.
Yes.
Leprechaun.
Yes.
That's
a classic.
That's me and Deshaun's neck of the woods over there. So, but we try to have a good time.
Well, when does preseason camp for you start?
We move-in days the 27th. We have all our kids in the summer, which is phenomenal. But we give them a week off leading up to the July 27th, and then we start practice on July 28th. So I like to try to give the players and even our coaching staff a little bit of time before we get rolling and climb into that bunker for the next 4 months.
Well, I can't thank you enough for stopping by. It's been a pleasure to have you on. Good luck this season, Coach, and I know we'd love to have you back on.
I gave them a hard time. I don't know if y'all saw the flyer they put out yesterday, but they put a come hang out with Deshaun Davis, Sammy Parker, Kerryon Johnson, and Jake Bentley. I wasn't even on the thing. The golly.
Witness protection program.
Hey, absolutely. I can hide out in the back, I guess.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
That is actually going to wrap us up here, as coming up next is going to be LSU taking on Wake Forest, as you're listening to The Drive right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
No one knows your Ford better than our factory-trained, certified technicians, and that's a fact. Hi, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, letting you know about a one-time service promotion good through June 30th only. Starting at just $79.95 when you get the Works package for your vehicle. You buy the first one, the second one is on us. The Works package includes a synthetic blend oil change, tire rotation, vehicle checkup, and more. You buy the first one, the next one is on us, but only through June 30th. Schedule online today and come in to Woody Anderson Ford.
Great food and the